All right. So now let's just keep going here. The first critical choice that I made on my journey to enduring success was to pick up the phone when my sister called. There's a story around that. We know that story. It was a practical action with a profound effect. Is there a first choice in your life? I kind of feel like there's a series of first choices, but is there a first choice in your life, whether practical or profound, that when you reflect, you're like, well, you've already mentioned one in your enduring success when you told your dad that you were going into fitness.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That was a big one. Is there another first choice that you made that impacted your journey to enduring success?
There were probably a couple of them that were, really pretty critical. The first one was that when I got out of college, I was working for a restaurant group as a troubleshooter. And, I went to different locations, and my job was to kind of take a look at locations that maybe weren't successful or weren't making money, and figure out why, and then get them turned around. And that was a great 8-year run, but it was grueling. It really was. The hours were insane. I was newly married at the time. My husband luckily was kind of in the same business, so had some understanding there. And one day my husband left the business first, and I saw what normalizing his schedule really did for his, not only career, but well-being. I decided to do the same thing when he took a job transfer, and we moved to Spokane, Washington. And at that point, and it was funny because I mentioned that I changed my path in my head in college. But then when I graduated from college, the reality really was that fitness back then wasn't like it is today.
Right.
With all of the different opportunities. And the opportunity that came my way was with this restaurant group. And so I took that, but then as we were doing the cross-country drive out to Spokane, Washington, I looked at my husband and I said, you know what? I want to break into the fitness industry. Not really sure how this is going to go, but I can tell you right now that I'm not going to make a lot of money while I'm doing it. So you need to be okay with this. I need a year. I need a year to figure this out. And he said, you know what? That's fair. We're moving across the country for my new opportunity. Do what you need to do. And while we're not married anymore, I must say that to this day, I'm profoundly grateful that he encouraged me to do that, because it opened a door that led to an opportunity when we moved to California. I kind of set the table in Spokane, picked up some different jobs in the fitness industry, got some additional education, got some new certifications, moved to California, and broke into the business in a women's only chain with that same boss that said to me, don't let your emotions rule you, because if you do it, your people are going to do it. Had a phenomenal opportunity that really springboarded my career in the fitness industry. And I think that piggybacks nicely onto my golden rule, and my other big choice was always accept the fact that not only should you not always be the smartest person in the room, you're not going to be the smartest person in the room. So you don't need to be that person. And that's hard, because sometimes you know the answer, but people don't need to know that you know the answer. Let other people shine. Let other people be the smartest person in the room, and accept the fact that you need to be a student all the time. Your whole life, you can never stop being a student. And if you approach it with those two things, A, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room, and B, you're always a student, that kind of sets you up, and it allows you to reinvent yourself when you need to throughout your life. And because you're always learning, and as you learn, you find new opportunities.
And to your point, that never ends. I mean, look at you. You're still embracing that. You don't have to, but you do. You still embrace that philosophy, so you continue to learn.
Well, I kind of had to. I mean, with each, kind of big career move over the last 10 years or so, it meant that I had to dive into a part of the industry that I didn't have a ton of experience in. Yes, I've got a lot of business development experience, a lot of marketing experience, and over the last 10 years or so have, gathered and had been able to become a lot more proficient around app development, product, engineering, and just how that whole, process works. But, I had to kind of dive in and go, okay, I know 75% of what I need to know to be successful in this business. And there's a whole nother 25% that I don't have a clue. And so I'm going to need to go out and get I'm going to have to lean into fitness industry professionals that do have the experience, go after some education and certification that will help boost me up a bit and make me more knowledgeable and close that gap. And, that's really helped.
I hope, some of the younger leaders that I work with are able to listen to this, because I observe sometimes, and I fall into this as well, but I observe sometimes the younger leaders feeling as they need to be a total expert in whatever it is. And the whole thing about the expert paradox, if I think I'm an expert or I believe I should be an expert, I have a more difficult time asking questions and learning. And it's like, I just think that that's really important for everybody to think about what you were just saying about the continuous art of learning, no matter where you're at. So we're all embracing that.
Yeah. And I think too, you'll fall back. I mean, I find myself at times falling back into that whole, I need to prove myself. I need to be the expert in the room.
Yes.
And it's literally a conscious check in my head to go, shut up, be quiet. Because I do. Listen, my greatest strength is my passion, but it's also my greatest weakness. And passion can be mistaken for arrogance. And arrogance can be mistaken for people thinking that you think you are the smartest person in the room when you're really not. So it's something I have to constantly check all the time.
Thank you for joining me for our Choose and Become interview series. You could find this episode and others at trishkendall.com. Just go to trishkendall.com/choose-become-interview-series. Or if you have a question or just want to leave a comment, email me, trish@trishkendall.com.